Hey everybody, welcome to the Tesla Life, episode 41 for February 14th, 2018. And for those of you who live under a rock, February 14th is Valentine's Day. And if, like us, you're doing something other than taking care of that special person in your life, just go ahead and fall asleep first. That's all I can tell you. Go ahead and fall asleep because you will be killed. Luckily, and my name is Russell Frost. I think my name's, and I am the host, my wingman here, Mr. Mark Coughlin.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. And watch the show first, then rush out and get your significant other a Valentine's gift. Because you procrastinated this long. What's another half an hour to an hour, really?
Yeah, what? I mean, come on, an hour? No big deal, right? No one's going to be mad at you.
Well, no one's going to care. Really.
They're already mad at you.
Yeah. They can't be more angry. Come on.
Yeah. If you're watching this show, you're already in deep shit. So, just let it go. Go buy some mediocre chocolate or some bad flowers, and it'll all blow over in a year or two. Next year when you do something really nice. But enough of that. We have a Tesla-filled extravaganza for today. And we should probably get started because we have a lot of news to cover. So first up, our friends at Electrek, although we've heard this independently confirmed through our own Evan Fusco and some other sources too. Last week, Tesla updated Model 3 owners that are waiting for their vehicles, Model 3 reservation holders, that if they were waiting for the standard battery pack, their order would be pushed back to late 2018. And for those of you that are waiting for Model 3, waiting until late 2018 isn't as nice as getting it sooner. Apparently this has something to do, well, I guess they're getting on track with the extended range packs that they're selling now. I'm not, do you know a reason for this, Mark?
Well, the reason is the delay that was outlined in the last quarter conference call on 1 week ago Wednesday.
Right.
So Elon had indicated there's still issues with the Tesla Gigafactory for the production of batteries in stage 1 and stage 2 of the 4 stages of, I guess, building. And they still have an issue with it. There's still people on the line. It's not fully automated. So they're running at less than a speed than they expect it to be. And that kind of bleeds into some other stories that we've got today as well. But really, they're waiting for some new equipment. They expect to still hit about 2,000 cars in a week, roughly, maybe 2,500 by the end of the month, possibly. But they're definitely behind. And that's the reason that they sent that email out shortly after the earnings call.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that sucks. And my apologies, everyone waiting for a standard pack Model 3. Not my fault.
Because it's something that you control, right?
Well, but I feel bad for them, I mean, they coughed up a deposit and waited patiently thus far. So, we don't want to see them. I don't want to see them get bummed. But speaking of delays, now the good news, there may be some good news for our friends like Mark.
Yeah, the strange thing is that that email went out to mostly all American clients, letting them know that this wait was now been pushed back to 3-4 months from where it was. But a strange thing happened in Canada is that everybody in Canada had already seen that it was a late 2018 already. It turns out that we got bumped up by 3 or 4 months. I have a reservation and took a look at my app, and it indicated now that it's mid-2018 if I'm looking for 1, the extra larger battery, or 2, the dual motor car. And if I'm looking for the base car, it's been pushed to early 2019.
Oh.
So obviously Tesla, well, and it's a question I was going to have for Russell, but the question becomes is, obviously I'm not a Tesla owner already. I don't have a Tesla. So in the US right now, only people that have Teslas can order the long range car. People that do not have a Tesla do not have the option of ordering yet. So it's kind of weird that they've pushed it up for Canada for mid 2018. And I realize it's not mid 2018 yet. We don't know what will happen between now and then.
Right.
But it's interesting that we haven't heard anything about US reservation holders that are non-Tesla owners currently, about them being given the opportunity to buy the long-range battery.
Are you implying there's some sort of Canadian favoritism taking place?
I don't mind that, but yeah. I have no idea what this is about. There have been speculation that Tesla believes they're going to have this hiccup fixed on the battery line, and they're going to have a flood of cars shortly, and they want to sell, obviously, the more expensive car to make more profit on every car. And what better way to open up the market to others to have a lot more people vying for the more expensive car so you could sell more of them. But it's really a question of timing. Will they actually have this block of cars available to sell? Are they just opening the market in hopes that Canadians will maybe a higher percentage of them will be going for the longer battery car? I don't know. It's really questionable as to what this is all about. But what really the question for me is the one about why haven't American reservation holders that do not have a car, I'm wondering, are they going to be notified real close to now? Like, is maybe next week, maybe the week after? Are they going to be able to start ordering cars? Because we're waiting for that. It hasn't happened yet. Only people that either are employees or own a Tesla are the only ones that have gotten the Model 3 to this point. So we are waiting for that new flood of people. And I got to believe that a whole bunch of people out there would be taking the long-range battery if that was the only choice that they were given. The other choice is wait. So I got to believe that a number of people are going to take them up on that offer. So we're just kind of waiting to see what happens next, what the next shoe to drop will be.
I'm just glad to see Canada not being treated as like the redheaded stepchild again. Well, I mean, that's cool because you guys, I have you and obviously other friends in Canada, and I hear regularly like, oh yeah, it's going to cost me 50% more, and I have to wait 2 years.
Yeah, that's about right. That's what happens typically.
Potato chips, you guys get it last, and honestly, you can have all the meat flavored potato chips.
Well, I gotta believe though, it's not, it's certainly that we have to wait, and it's typically more money because our economies are a little bit different. And that's just, you're right. We're used to it. That's the way it is. But it would be nice to get a flood of Model 3s into this country, to see them on the roads here. That would be fantastic to see.
It is still kind of like, it catches my eye when I see one driving around San Diego. And there's a few now around, and you see them, and it's like, oh, look at that. That's interesting. I wonder if I run into him, how that'll wreck his day. But well, speaking of wrecked days, can you, I'm just hoping that maybe there's some French basis here. This person's last name, is it Hicathier or is it Hicatier?
I'd probably go with the first, but
Hicathier.
Yeah.
So, our friends at Inside EVs listed an interesting but very short story that I find utterly fascinating. Quality inspector Jeff Hicathier is a 50-year-old quality inspector at Tesla. Well, I mean, but we just don't hear much from Tesla employees in this world. You know what I mean? They're very quiet. Tesla's a very insular organization, and they're not big on sharing stuff. And we, as Tesla fans, love to hear stuff. So, interestingly enough, Jeff kind of talked over some of what he does with Business Insider,
which is surprising. Just that, right? Like,
I don't even,
like, was Jeff on his way out the door? Like,
I don't care anymore. I'm going to give an interview to Business Insider. And frankly, one good way to leave Tesla early is to give an interview to Business Insider, or anything, Seeking Alpha, whatever. And I have to quote the first sentence of the second paragraph. Quote, Jeff's job is to comb over every vehicle. Stop. He combs over every vehicle?
Every vehicle.
Yeah, I would have changed that phrasing a little bit. But anyway, basically Jeff's job is Jeff takes Tesla physically tests a higher percentage of vehicles off the line than most car companies do. And we can ignore the reasons for that. But Jeff's job is to check them out and drive them around a test track to listen for creaks and whatnot, just to make sure that everything's tight and everything works. How crappy of a job is that? I mean, you're driving Teslas all day long on a track. That's got to be horrible. Well, in this article, we learned that Jeff is 50 and that he drives his BMW 3 Series to work every day, but he leaves his Audi R8 at home, which means Jeff is doing very well.
Jeff doesn't need the job, does he?
No, the R8 is very expensive. And if you're not familiar with it, it's a fun car. I don't think there's anything else that's really new. I mean, we know that Tesla's been doing some very aggressive quality inspection on the cars, and they apparently continue to. So, good for them.
But like you had mentioned, people don't typically give interviews at all from Tesla. And if they happen to slip an interview out and it's publicized, which, what magazine is not going to publicize that they get an article like this? A lot of people are shown the door rather quickly.
It's we hope that Jeff is safe and secure in his job, and we hope that Jeff has planned his retirement well.
or Jeff knew what he was doing.
Yeah, or I guess, I mean, and the other side of this could be somebody in Tesla PR said, yeah, let's do this, and this is going to make us look like we really care about what's going on. And I don't think there's any question that they care, and that they're testing cars, right?
Right.
It's not
right.
really a disputed issue.
That's not a real surprise. But like you said, some of the wording was questionable, but maybe that was after the interview was given, and the inside business insider made whatever choice they did.
Given the political landscape that we live in, who uses comb over today in anything but one reference? Okay. Well, I think Mark has a story that has nothing to do with politics or hairstyles.
Nothing to do with hairstyles, for sure. Elon happened to be in a discussion about the Semi, and someone had prompted him with, how many semis do you think you're going to make? And Elon came out quite confidently, rather quickly, that he thinks that the 100,000 mark seems about right per year. So that certainly would put them into an elite status for a number of these big rigs being made. So they'd be right up with the biggest manufacturer that exists. So again, Tesla doesn't seem to do things small at any point. And we know for a fact that Elon is always dreaming large and will always speak his mind quite confidently before those facts actually come to fruition. But it's interesting to see that he has not changed at all. So they're going to make 100,000 semis in a year. Now, of course, that could be a ramp up over time. There was no timetable given. Maybe the first year will be 6, but he is aiming for 100,000 units per year. And cheers to him and his timetable.
Quick, do the math. What is 100,000 vehicles? I have to
100,000 times up to $250,000 a piece.
No. Is that 2,000 a week?
Oh yeah.
2,000 a week?
No problem.
Okay.
And of course, there was no discussion of where they're going to be made. There's going to be no room at Fremont, so maybe they're going to be firing up a new factory in someone else's neighborhood. But I'm sure they're having to think about all these things because they did get a fair amount of orders up front, and there's a lot of people that have placed bets on it. And these just aren't people; these are corporations that expect that their orders will be filled.
I'm sorry, I was kind of staggered for a second. Good luck with that. Yeah, I just, and on a related, like, sort of unrealistic manufacturing note, and this is unusual for Inside EVs. Usually Inside EVs is, reasonable about things, but I have to kind of, like, I don't know if this passes the basic logic test. The headline is, new Tesla Model 3 battery line could increase output by a factor of
400%.
Yeah.
Now this is that new equipment that is being made by a Tesla-owned company in Germany.
Right.
So they had the problem in putting the battery packs together, which they're still experiencing today. And they had indicated that their thoughts about how to put the battery back together were just not going to work, and they had to redesign everything. And they decided to use this German company to build the machine to put the new plans in motion. So that is what is going to speed up the production of these battery packs, is this new piece of machinery that's going to be shipped to Fremont from Germany. Could be on its way, but it's got to be disassembled, shipped, and reassembled at the plant. And during that earnings call of last Wednesday, Elon had indicated that he knows this solution will work. It's just a matter of getting it installed and running.
He was very confident. And this is the machine gun belt thing that puts all the batteries in a prismatic pack for easy installation, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah. So again, it's amazing that, Tesla has put together batteries for how long now? For how many cars?
Yeah, quite a few.
And they didn't think this completely through? That's a bit of a shocking admission. And Elon said as much during the press conference that it's kind of surprising that Tesla, who felt that one of their expertise was in battery pack production or building and production, kind of dropped the ball on this in a big way. And it's still affecting us till today. We knew about this problem back in before December.
Oh yeah,
that there was the first issue. The first quarter that they started, we knew the problem existed, and here we are now in February, still affecting production.
And I have to wonder what is Panasonic's part in this?
Yeah. There's been nothing said about Panasonic as it comes to this at all. And maybe that is because the batteries themselves is Panasonic's worry. It's not anything to do with putting them in a pack. All they have to do is produce the 2170, and that's the end of their agreement. And maybe that's what's going on. So they got plenty of batteries. It's just that they can't put them together in a pack as efficiently as they need to.
Crazy.
Yeah, so, well, hopefully things will straighten out, and that's what's causing these delays that we have experienced lately. But hopefully things will start to turn around as that machinery comes in. Now, Elon even had to get on another, I guess it wasn't Elon, it was one of the Tesla lawyers, had come on after the earnings call, and he had to re-explain that what Elon had said during the meeting didn't mean that they would get up to 2,500 or 2,000 units per week once the machinery arrives. The lawyer was keen to say that we will make the 2,000 to 2,500 a week without the new machinery. And the new machinery will just give us that much more throughput once it's installed and running.
He's an optimist.
And then Wall Street doesn't want optimists. Wall Street wants facts, and facts have been fleeting with this group for a couple of quarters now.
Yeah, as we've all said, this is going to be a very tough year for Tesla, and they have to make good on a lot of promises.
Yeah, absolutely.
On a lot of products. If they do, Tesla's going to be in an amazing shape, and will have a very bright future. If they start dropping the ball, it could be a potentially really ugly year, and
it could get bad real quick.
Yeah.
This would snowball into something that you do not want to see.
I would think you would start to see investor confidence flag, and you would start to see sales. It potentially could have a really horrible effect. I hope not.
Yeah,
I hope not.
Well, our next story comes from a California Model 3 owner that had decided that they wanted to have a yellow car for their wife. Or their wife decided, I want a yellow car.
That is like Tonka truck yellow, too.
And he posted it, and I was like, you know what? This isn't half bad. Like, I was expecting really ugly. But, man, I have to admit, the yellow's growing on me. I've looked at it now a number of times, and I think every time I look at it, it looks a little better.
I think it needs a little black pinstriping.
Little black pinstriping. That might work. Yeah, that might work. But this particular owner ordered a plain black car because, of course, there's no extra charge for the paint if you order black. And they took it to a wrap shop local to them. And he was kind enough to point out that it cost him about $2,000 to get the entire car wrapped, which is not unreasonable. That's quite a good price, I would think.
But isn't the paint only like $3,000 more?
Paint is $1,000, but you can't get yellow.
Oh, okay.
There's no yellow. That's and the wife wanted yellow, and she was getting yellow. So that's what happened in this particular instance. But what's kind of cool is that this is a black car underneath it. I don't know. They don't show any interior shots of what the sills would look like. I'm assuming they're going to be still black in there. I could be wrong. But what's kind of neat is that this even becomes a protection for the car. So you've got this film on it, kind of like the clear film that you would see on other cars, that gives you that little bit of protection. And maybe you live with it for 5 years as yellow, you really love it, and then you decide just to rip it off, and you've got yourself a black car with new paint.
Right.
So
exactly.
That would be kind of cool to do. Yeah, I thought that was kind of a interesting spin on things. As someone that instead of spending the extra $1,000 on paint, used it for a vinyl wrap, but that they can always go back to the original color at some point in the future. So good on them.
I like that. I do like that. I don't think that's a bad looking car in yellow.
Yeah. And like I said, it's been growing on me. I really like it.
Yeah. It's a classic kind of race car yellow. Well, Tesla did something else this week. An update to the mobile app added some cold weather convenience features. Now, before you say anything, it's still February, and even though it may be 70 some odd degrees where I am, what was the temperature where you are today?
Well, actually, it started to mild up. It's probably about 30, 34 degrees Fahrenheit. So it's
2 degrees above freezing is what you're saying.
A couple degrees above freezing, and tomorrow's supposed to be about 6 degrees above freezing. So, well, we're happy with that.
If that's mild, that's still probably something that the new mobile app adds some features, like you can turn on your seat heaters and the defrosters automatically, so that when you get in your car, it's not a frozen single block of ice. It actually is comfy.
Exactly.
If you have cold weather upgrades like a heated steering wheel and wiper blades, those will also be activated. It's you know what? This is one of the wonderful things about Tesla and the mobile app and over-the-air updates is they're constantly tweaking these things to make it better for their customers. And quick, name the other company that does that. Yeah, nobody. No one. Buy a new car if you want heated wipers or whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
Good cheers to Tesla, and really cool for all of you Tesla owners in cold spaces. Your car is going to be a little more warm and inviting the next time you get in.
Yeah. And another thing to note on that is if you go check out the article that we linked to, there is a photograph that shows the app. And what's kind of neat is that when it shows the battery pack itself, if it's really cold, there is a blue section that's on the battery pack. And that blue section is to indicate that that space in the battery is not usable at this point because it's too cold to use the energy out of that. So effectively, you're getting a shorter range because that portion of the battery is, frozen, really. It can't be used until the entire battery pack warms up, and then it unlocks it and it turns back to normal color, and you can now use that extra range again. So if the car is out in, sub-freezing temperatures, you're going to have that visual indicator that how much of the battery is usable and how much may be locked into that freezing that has to be updated or warmed up before it can be unlocked. But that's kind of a cool feature.
Very cool. I mean, all of this stuff is fantastic. And again, it's a credit to Tesla that they've got this stuff, that they built it, and that they keep always improving it, always adding stuff to it.
Exactly. So it's great to see. And again, we've said it many times, but that is really the secret sauce that Tesla has over many, like you said, every automaker when it comes to those over-the-air updates. Yeah. And actually, I got a quick photo of that. I just happen to have that handy. Let me just share that so the viewers at home can see.
Dun, dun, dun.
There we go. So you can see the little snowflake symbol and the little blue part that's frozen. So an indicator that it is locked at this particular point in time.
Until the battery heats up.
Until it heats up, and then it becomes normal color again, back to the green, and you've got it to use.
Which, again, you know what? Like, this is a little tiny thing. But if you're driving a car and you see your range fluctuating, you want to know why. Right? Like, why?
That's right. Yeah, why am I missing that little piece that I normally get, right?
And when it comes back, all of a sudden, like, what, was something broken? And no, it was cold. And the app is going to show you that now. That's exceptionally cool. And it's good communication with the vehicle.
Right. So. Next story is about the batteries themselves. So dovetailing into our other story, gentleman on YouTube, which we've linked to the story, was able to get his hands on a 2170 battery. And I'm just wondering, Russell, have they implemented that? What was it? What were we calling it? The batteries in a barrel that people would grab one as they leave.
I don't know.
Bobbing for batteries.
Batteries, yeah.
Well, this gentleman somehow got his hands on a 2170, and
wait for it.
And he discharged the battery in the video, and then he cut the ends off, and then he unrolled it so people could see what was inside. And I just got the other photo here, and you can see the battery here in the black part in the middle. And then there's this sheet that runs between two membranes to keep the pieces separately. And there's this black substance. I'm assuming it's cobalt, a mixture that is. Yeah, I'm not asking. I'm just kind of narrating. It's got these thin membranes that are rolled into the cylinder, and then of course the casing goes on over top. So it's worth a watch if you haven't seen it to see what this actually looks like on video. It's kind of cool that he cuts it open and rolls it out so you can see what makes the magic of the battery.
And for those of you that haven't watched the video, but are trivia experts, does anyone want to guess at the length of one of the coiled up strips inside the 2170 cell? Not hearing anyone from the audience because
there's no live audience.
There's no live audience here.
Let me take a look at the YouTube chat area, and we'll see if anybody in the YouTube chat area, which there's about 20 people in there.
They probably already watched the video.
We got a 32 inches guess.
There we go. That's
from Matt. Matt says 32. So Matt's read the article. Is that what we're saying?
I think so, yeah. And just to show you that, there it is. 32 inches.
32 inches of coiled substance.
Yeah. And yeah, that's how much stuff is in there. I don't know that proves anything, but it's interesting.
Yeah, another fact. So take a look. It's interesting to see. And of course, if you're watching this program here today, please feel free to follow us on Twitter, and you will get updates throughout the week as we come across news stories and post them. At the Tesla Life, we'll display what we find through the week. So feel free to join us there and connect with us. As well as also, you're watching the program now, please subscribe so you can get auto alerts when the show starts, and you'll be notified live when the show begins. And also, it helps us out a little bit. We would love a little help if you can subscribe. We would certainly greatly appreciate it.
It actually helps us out a lot. So not to underestimate, we don't get money. I mean, we're not that, but we would like to get bigger, and not so much for money, but just because, then we get a little more attention, and that's a good thing. Maybe we're the ones that sneak into the factory at night with the video cameras.
You weren't supposed to say that on air.
Oh. Okay. No, that we would never do that. Ever. We would never.
That's good, because I anticipate a lawyer call coming at any moment. Yes.
Great. That took 10 seconds. Well, yeah, speaking of lawyer calls, this next story is not going to generate any lawyer calls. This next story is really kind of just empty speculation, and it's obvious. I guess I'm being kind of critical of this article because I get it, but it seems silly. So once again, our friends at Electrek want to know, ask the question, are Tesla's delays in achieving Model 3's $35,000 price, might that open the door to other electric cars? In other words, you can't get a $35K Model 3 right now. The ones that they're delivering are in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. And the people who want the $35K Model 3 just got pushed back. So the question is, are all those people going to stick? And that part is a good question, sort of. But the thing is this, they want a $35,000 Tesla because they want a $35,000 Tesla. They've been able to buy a $35,000 electric vehicle from other companies for a while. That is not a new thing. What they haven't been able to do is get a $35,000 Tesla. So is this me opining that 100% of the people with reservations are going to stick? No. But that is me, I think, pointing out the very obvious thing that, again, if you're waiting for this entry-level price Tesla, you're probably not going to be satisfied with a similarly priced Chevy or a Nissan or whatever. Not because they're not great cars, they are, but because it's not the Tesla that you want.
Right. Yeah, and that's, that certainly makes sense. But there are also some real world conditions that people are coming up to with these longer delays, such as, I don't think my current car is going to last me. I have to get out of what I'm in. It's costing me money. I'm going to have to do a big job on it. And there does come a point where you're throwing too much, bad money into a car that you would rather spend it on something that's newer, that's going to get you down the road further and is worth the money spending on. So, yeah, you're right. There is that back and forth that people are thinking, which really leads us to our next story.
Wait, one more thing.
Go ahead.
I just want to share this because I think this is fascinating. So there's a little poll at the end, and it's thousands of votes poll, not like 24 people. Are you considering other EVs after Tesla changed the timeline for the standard battery pack? 59% said no. 40% said yes. Okay, well, that would seem to sort of support what I was saying. Although I got to tell you, I'm shocked at the 40%. But if the answer is yes, what other electric car do you think is most attractive now that the Model 3 standard battery pack is delayed? Tesla Model S, not a big surprise, sort of, at 27%. But the next one is the one that shocks me. The Nissan Leaf at 25% versus the Chevy Bolt at 19%.
Yep. What's shocking you about that?
I guess they're going for the low price of the Leaf as opposed to the range of the Bolt.
Yep, that's what it looks like.
I'm not surprised that the Ioniq and the e-Golf are down at the bottom. Honestly, e-Golfs are sort of like leprechauns. Maybe they exist, maybe they don't. The Ioniq EV is a really nice little car. I drove it. I've done a review on it. But if you like that form factor, it's fantastic. But I'm kind of surprised that the Leaf is the one that's right behind the Model S.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a breakout year for Nissan. It really is. Yeah. They've got this car that they have started to release now, and they have the production facility that is going to pump them out. They are going to be a ton of them, and they're not going to be light on them. They're going to be able to pump a ton of these out onto the market, and that's going to speak volumes. They're going to be able to get people into these cars, and as the first wave goes out and people start discovering it, the follow-up people that are coming in on the heels of the early adopters, they're going to be able to get their hands on the car as well, which is going to be a great boon for Nissan. Yeah.
It's huge. It's huge. And Nissan's leadership here may very well pay off for them. They may sponge some of those. Is sponge the right verb? They may grab some of those.
They may comb over.
Yeah. Oh, I had to go there, didn't I? I'm sorry. Well, speaking of polls, Mark.
Yeah, I decided to run a poll on the same thing to see if there was a difference.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't. See, now I feel bad.
That's all right. That's all right. So I ran a poll on our Twitter feed. We got 266 votes on this, and surprisingly, it's about the same that we saw in the other poll.
Yeah.
But the question is because of these new delays, can you or will you wait for the base Model 3? And if you're considering a replacement, what would that be? So about 64% said that yes, they will wait, and about 36% indicated that no, they can't wait until 2019. They're going to have to pull the trigger on something else.
Wow. What other? So do you have any kind of consensus on what the?
There was no real consensus on. There was certainly the talk. There was the Model 3. There was the Leaf. There was the Bolt. But I don't. Not everyone that indicated no sent back what they're going to go into or look at. But it was again another group of people that were saying that I can't wait. There is this issue for me for whatever reason that I'm going to have to get into something else before that Model 3 becomes available.
Wow.
So yeah, and the funny thing about this poll as well is that it really slanted heavily towards yes, I can wait. It was in the 85, 90 percentile at the beginning of the poll, and the poll lasted a day. As we got into halfway through the day into the overnight, then the no's started to come in, and it pushed it up basically to a 2/3 to 1/3 ratio. So in the beginning, there was a lot more optimism. People were waiting, and then maybe reality set in for many people that replied to the poll and indicated that, you know what, there's a good chunk of people that are going to move off this because they can't wait.
Wow. That's crazy.
Yeah.
No, I love the idea that our smaller sampling poll, though, reflected the much larger. I mean, I guess that whole like math thing really works. Says the somewhat surprised art history major. Okay?
Say, hey, math works. Look at that.
Math is something. Well, speaking of something, I have something. And I don't have that. Hold on one second here. Now I'm embarrassed.
I can get you something if you're doing the.
So, we ask weird questions on this show sometimes. We ask sort of mysterious questions. And one of the things that I want to know is, without a supercharging network, how in the hell does a Model 3 get to Nova Scotia? Halifax. How with California plates? I mean, obviously there are chargers, but it's funny without an extant supercharging network. Here is, thank you, Mark, for putting that up, by the way. Here is an exciting Model 3 in Halifax.
Exactly. All the way on the east coast of Canada, where the superchargers, I believe, don't even make it to Maine. And they certainly stop in Quebec on the Canadian route. So, man, this guy was obviously stopping for some longer charges somewhere along his route, because he was not making it in one shot all the way there.
There's the oh, wait a second. The map doesn't have Halifax on it. Am I missing?
It does. It's over.
Way over here in the
corner. That's it, where you are right now. That's Halifax.
Okay, so that's Halifax down there.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, you can see where, of course, the gray superchargers don't exist yet. The red ones do. And yeah, I mean,
why don't you share your screen, Russell? I think mine's still being shared.
Didn't I? Oh, I'm sorry. Let's see. I thought present. There we go. And there. Can we see it?
We see it. Yes.
Yes. There we go. So yeah, that's the supercharging map for that neck of the woods. Again, that's Halifax down there, just so you have an idea. And you guess you're kind of coming all the way through New Brunswick and maybe around Maine, maybe through Maine. Who knows? If your passport's up to date, you go through Maine. If not, you go around it, because
Yeah.
Yeah, we do take those borders seriously.
They don't joke around, do they? There's no
those customs people do not have a sense of humor, which is so
not
funny.
At all.
The Canadian people, when you're going into Canada, are so nice. It's like, it's almost like, hey, would you like a donut? Welcome to Canada. Come on in.
Would you like a donut?
They're really nice. Yeah, I come back as an American. I come back into the United States, and they're like, "What have you been doing? Where you been? What do you got in the car?" I mean, like, wow, hey, it's cool. Look,
And we did look at the plate that was on the car from California, manufacturer plate. So obviously it's a Tesla vehicle, and that plate and car were seen in Montreal back in December. So this car has been in Canada and remained in Canada for probably that period. So it's been moving up and down between Montreal and obviously Nova Scotia at this point.
What is Tesla doing?
Now, the other thing is that Nova Scotia is where that renowned battery researcher is based. That works for Tesla out of Dalhousie University. So he is in Halifax, and this could be something with that battery research that is being run from Dalhousie University.
You've really dug into this. That's all I'm saying.
I did some homework. Yes, indeed.
That's nice. The truth is out there, folks. That's all I can say.
And then, but get a load of and I'll just share this again. But the picture here, who is parking this car that close to the curb?
And wrecking the rims.
Like, come on. What are you doing? Those are nice rims, and you're just rubbing up against some concrete. It's like, oh my gosh.
Maybe wash that thing too a little bit, huh? Jeez. And what's up with the red Solo Cup? I mean, I hope they're not like, we're not.
You don't want to go there, really. No.
You don't want to go there. That's that Mark, I'm impressed. That's some brilliant little investigative journalism you've done there.
Thank you very much.
Very nice.
So in another investigation, a picture showed up on the internet just recently. And this photo was captured somewhere in my home province of Ontario, and the reason will become painfully obvious shortly. But this is a shot of a Model X, hence the the Falcon Wing doors, quite easily seen in the photo.
Oh.
And it's an Ontario Provincial Police cruiser done up in OPP colors. So this caused a bit of a stir with people freaking out as to, well, when did the OPP get a Model X and what's it doing on the police force and dressed up in the OPP colors, and we haven't heard anything to this point. Well, this picture was taken somewhere in the Greater Toronto area, and we have found out through other sources that this vehicle will most likely be displayed at the Toronto Auto Show that starts tomorrow for Media Day and runs for 2 weekends.
Oh.
So the OPP in past years have always had a display of vehicles at the show with the flashing lights and the sit in the back of the cruiser and all that stuff. They've got officers there that are, I guess it's a recruitment option for them as well, or a recruitment opportunity. So they're doing some public handshaking and showing what the OPP's equipment looks like. So apparently this Model X will be showing up at the show. And if you happen to be in the Toronto area, take it in, because we even hear that there's going to be a Model 3 at the Toronto Auto Show as well.
What was that, news?
That is news, just sprung on you right now.
So tomorrow
Starting is Media Day. You can only get in if you're an accredited media person. But after that, Friday, the show opens to the general public and runs for 2 weekends. So we are going to be on site taking some photos on Media Day, and we will send them out on the Twitter feed. So another reason to get on the Twitter if you aren't already, and you can see some of the shows, some of the displays live at the show starting tomorrow.
Absolutely. Nice. And yeah, look forward to some coverage from Mark on that, and hopefully some insights. Maybe Mark will be able to tear a piece off the Model 3 and bring it to the show. Because they let you do that.
Or maybe Mark will tear off that piece and end up driving in the back of the new Model X OPP cruiser to jail.
And you'll be down with OPP.
Ba-doom.
You know me. Well, speaking of down with things, in Tesla's ever developing plan to take over the world in a good way, one of the things that it looks like they may be kind of getting into, and we don't know if it's for commercial use or for their own use, SpaceX is going to launch a prototype internet satellite, and Tesla is getting a ground station. Interestingly enough, there are 9 ground stations that will be able to connect up to this orbiting satellite, and obviously broadcast back and forth internet access. Now, the speculation is, since Teslas already have 3G and 4G connections built into them, what if they had satellite internet access?
Exactly.
Maybe this is for Tesla's own network. Maybe everybody wants Tesla satellite internet access. I don't know. Yeah,
it's kind of perplexing as to what it's for. But SpaceX has been publicized previously that they want to build a low Earth orbit satellite constellation that will cover the globe with internet access and connectivity. So they're looking to put a number of these smaller size satellites on their SpaceX rockets and then launch them into lower Earth orbit destinations. And there will be, I believe they said there's going to be hundreds of these satellites, if not 1,000.
12,000.
12,000 of these total. So on, what is it, February the 17th? Is that the launch date?
Yeah.
They're going to launch 2 of these satellites, I guess, for testing. That they're going to put them into low Earth orbit, turn them on, and start testing them. But man, that's going to be a lot of space stuff floating around in low Earth orbit.
Good thing that Roadster's heading away from Earth, because you're going to get banged up. Okay, you're going to get banged up.
Yeah, so we're in for some exciting times. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it. Is it going to be 5G network? Who knows? We're just speculating. Yeah. But interesting, as Russell had mentioned, that one of the base stations will be located at Fremont in Tesla headquarters. So what that's going to be used for, we'll have to stay tuned and watch.
Yeah. Well, hey, right on. I mean, that's very cool. The idea that, you know, either Tesla owners are going to have access to maybe a really cool satellite network, or again, maybe it's both. Maybe Elon's thinking bigger and it's going to be Tesla internet for everyone everywhere. I can't say I'd be bummed about that.
Another competitor on the market. It'll be, you know,
hard enough to LTE sometimes. So
yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that. So stay tuned. We will.
Yeah, absolutely. Mark, I'm waiting for one more thing.
You know what? With all that research, Russell, I haven't got one more thing. You called me out and you got it. I got nothing. So
okay, so that's 41 shows, and that's the first time I've been right. So I'm not exactly.
Every dog has its day. That's right.
Exactly. And I am the dog, and this is my day. So I'll take that.
Enjoy it. Buy a lotto ticket. Absolutely.
Yeah. And so do you want to do some shout outs?
Yeah, I want to shout out to the live chat on the YouTube channel. So thank you to David and Matt. And guess what? Patrick C was with us for most of the show. And certainly we want to thank for their interactions as the show went along. So hello to everyone in the chat room. And if you haven't been there before, please join us for the next show. So
please do. And as that other guy, what's his name? Mark. Oh yeah. As Mark suggested at the beginning of the show, please search the Tesla Life Show on YouTube. Look for our shiny red logo. And do hit subscribe, and maybe even share it with your friends on Facebook or Twitter or wherever you are, and suggest to them if you like the show, because we definitely appreciate your support very much. Other than that, I want to do something I very rarely do, but I should be doing every episode, and that is thank Lee Moon, the man who composed and performed our theme music and who gives it to us for free. Thank you, Lee! And I apologize for forgetting that every damn week. I'm a bad person. You know, I've come to that realization. I'm a bad person, and I feel bad. So thank you for that. Otherwise, Mark, anything else?
That's it. Let's wrap her up.
That's it. Well, thanks very much to all of you, everybody in the chat room. Thank you so much. All of you watching and listening. Tune in next week and find out what is going on in the Tesla life. See ya.
Good night, everyone.